Johnny's bite. No, where Johnny's lick? Where Johnny's bite? Where do all lick who won't bite? Johnny's a day. Johnny's bite. Mamma sent and you see, some of us, we are natural born orators. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm an extempo speaker. I'm an expert when it comes to language. And when somebody is speaking, I intentionally watch them and the choice of words they use and what they intend to use the choice of words for. Now, meet here, Johnny. It's so funny that the Johnny I know, he's not biting. He's licking around the issue. So either say, Johnny's bite to Johnny's lick. They say, one licking as but Johnny Lick. But so person bite Johnny. So my mention there or my mention the menu Johnny here. Muhodo. Daniel Bonnie Yenti. Start you.
At the pump.
Okay, so start you.
But they are not, the people are happy that you are giving them cheaper prices.
So first of all, Danny wants to remind the people that for your testimony, when you're happy, it's not the people speaking. Danny can they all feel it? Can they all feel it? There is one issue yato petromu and ayata so, and there is another yade tax yato so. So when you want to hit it, go straight and hit it, and say tax na modiato so no. It is neither here nor there. And as I may support it, you must bite. You don't need to lick. So he said the people are happy that you've reduced. So communication. He wants to remind the people that we've reduced the pump, fuel price at the pump. Johnny can was it. Deal of you once. After yes, and Johnny, obey.
But they are now complaining that you have given us this, we are happy, we are praising you. Now you want to come and take
Okay. Hold on. Look at what but they are praising you that we are not happy you are here. And they look at no, the people have not said they are happy anywhere. So, Johnny, please continue to bite. Don't be licking. This one sounds like you are licking instead of biting. Johnny, please, you have to lick. And you have to bite. Don't lick. After I say, the people are happy and they are. Johnny, come on, it's tax in the account. Tax in the wasam. After young trust,
it shows that you have not properly engaged the people.
Okay, so wait. So again, Johnny is saying that the issue is not about tax and adetusuno, but the issue is about engaging the people. So he's moving semantics. He's moving away from the core issue to now say that you should have engaged the people. So the problem is communication. And he will go on to say it, that the only problem the MPP had was communication. So Johnny, please, bite. A tax and the opposition is saying, what do you think? Don't be doing semantics with language. I mean, Johnny, maybe you know, bite. Akufo-Addo, you are not going to say it this way. Johnny's bite. Bobby? After Yentilo.
If you had engaged the people, you'd have known that, oh, we can't pay 1 cedi. We don't want to pay 1 cedi. We want to pay 30 pesos. We want to pay 5 pesos. Or we don't want to pay. Communication was the problem of the previous government. I told you.
Johnny. Communication was not the problem. Akufo-Addo E11 engaging Ghana for across the country. You come home, stakeholders, town halls meeting. So it's not communication. Don't make it substantive issue. Oh, Miana Johnny. Oleki. Johnny bites it. What it? Bites it there. What do you say? I bite it.
The Honorable Kwame Asare-Obeng, aka A+, took to social media to make spurious allegations against me, calling me corrupt and a thief. Besides the name calling, the Facebook post in its totality was a palpable falsehood. I was never involved in the passage of the sanitation levy, as I was not a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, let alone to be in a position to influence the composition of the membership of the committee. And I have the Hansard as documentary support for what I'm saying, I have the votes and proceedings of Parliament. Unfortunately, I left them in the office. I think I have them here. Yes. So for the media, the report of the committee as well as the vote and proceedings are here. If you want to do some research on the matter that he alleged that I was involved and I channeled, I made sure that the membership of the committee was, changed, and then the monies from the sanitation levy were channeled to my friend, and so on and so forth. I'm not friends with whoever was the beneficiary of the sanitation levy. But interestingly, A+ warned me in the post not to do anything silly and that he will come after me if I did. That is laughable. First of all, I do not act silly because I think through the consequences of my actions, not only for my person, but also for others. That is what we were taught in Notre Dame Minor Seminary, and I am proud to say, without fear of any contradiction, that I have kept faith with that principle. Secondly, the threat is laughable because I have nothing to hide. I am reliably informed that his basis of saying that I am corrupt and a thief is that I took campaign contribution from a businessman at East Legon known as Dr. Sledge, and that he also knows the people who donated pickups for my campaign. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if receiving donations for your campaign or getting a pickup for a campaign is thievery or corruption, then there are 276 thieves in Parliament, including the person who was making the allegation himself. So, ladies and gentlemen, if A+ has any evidence of corruption or thievery against me, I am challenging him today to call a press conference and present the evidence or present it to the police to investigate me. In contrast, the media should ask him about the silly thing that I was about to do, which frightened him so much into making that silly post about me. He should be asked what he knows about the National Service ghost name scandal and related matters. If he can give truthful answers to these questions, then Ghanaians will know why he took to social media to do what he did. But let him be warned that in my hometown of Zorungu, we do not fear mud being thrown at us. On the contrary, we walk into the mud to deal with the person doing the mud slinging. And I am prepared to walk into the mud with A+. Because what I have about him and the National Service scandal, he should come and tell you. I'm challenging him. He should come and tell you, the media, and stop cowardly hiding behind social media to make baseless allegations against people who have worked hard to earn a reputation.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes.
He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used,
The more money he makes.
oh yes. So, what are you waiting for?
Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money.
Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
my friends, my name is Kelkit Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush.
Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger.
Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kelkits, happy smile.
After this fufu and pepper soup, I go score goals like them the dash points.
Kivo 100% natural hot pepper. Good for your jollof, stew, soup, shito, spaghetti, and noodles. Kivo hot pepper. Moko show.
I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kivo 100% natural hot pepper. Champion taste.
This advert is FDA approved.
Cratchit, unemu bua unkoisha Dr. Ban uye denwa.
Oh, Mr. Yamfan come and me buru.
Mami buru. Ni atele be ko bra. Mumi yamfan ko Dr. Ban ho. Dr. Ban o ya de. Bra, se ban no mpemu adwuma sasabro slow Dr. Ban o ye.
So ni kemi kwana meka. Oh no mpemu nim di ono na ye expect nya zanfo no. O akra eni kumasi no mpemu expect yen kan kire.
Welcome to Breables Palm Ayumensa Gated Community. Nestled between the vibrant city of Accra and the breathtaking Ebri Mountains lies a serene gated community. Here, you'll find litigation-free, fully serviced demarcated plots to build your dream house in a gated community surrounded by lush greenery and the calming beauty of nature. Perfect canvas for your dream home you want to build. With well-tarred roads, a reliable drainage system, electricity and water, fully serviced plots are ready for your vision. Enjoy exclusive amenities like a swimming pool, tennis and basketball courts, all within the comfort of your community. Start your mornings with peaceful walks or energizing jogs under the shade of palm trees and stunning views of the Peduase Ebri Mountains and city skyline. Starting from 450,000 Ghana cedis and a flexible payment plan, visit www.reabothpropertiesgh.com to make inquiries. Call or WhatsApp us on 020-682-3524, 055-375-1933, or 024-476-4499. Rehoboth Properties. Quality housing for all.
Smart, smooth, interactive, and a built-in Android active panel. Made for modern work and home. For corporate clients and university students, enjoy top-quality 10th generation Toshiba laptops built for performance, power, clarity, and speed, all in one desktop. At Mycom JA Computers, get a laptop for as low as 1,000 Ghana cedis. All products are imported from the USA with a 1-year warranty. Visit Mycom JA Computers today and elevate your tech.
Playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Avoiding injuries, easy. Winning, easy. But you know what be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water, then sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy, made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
This advert is FDA approved.
Yeah,
Next. Hey, Nadia Benson.
Me didn't tum. Mr. Friend, Calico, just call me cockroach.
Now, Mr. Friend, me once now.
Hey, that's on you. Improve car. Yeah. Captain Mosquito, double the action. Me did it, Sasso spray. Mr. Friend is Sasso quell. Yeah, go to my Sasso.
Come tum preko.
Buy affordable service plots and lands from estate masters. Currently selling our next cottage, located at the newly proposed airport city, with a starting price of 25,000 Ghana cedis. We also have Palm Hills, located at Pamfukuro in the Gomwa East District, also with a starting price of 15,000 Ghana cedis. Available also is Coastal Park in Lakpleku, which is a 15 minutes drive from the Ningo Senior High School, having a starting price of 55,000 Ghana cedis. You will receive a free site plan with indenture once you successfully purchase a land from us. For any enquiries, contact the numbers provided. Estate Masters, your most preferred estate partner.
I heard the song. Good evening, viewers, and welcome to the show. Thank you very much for your time. It's always a pleasure to come to you with the all-comprehensive Good Evening Ghana. Tonight we have so much. We have been at the Alisa Hotel. The MPP is trying to put together their own juggernaut to fight the elections of 2028. Too much politics, isn't it? We just have finished an election, and it looks like there's a big deal. Tonight, though, we have an NDC man in the studio. The Honorable ABA Fusaini is not quite happy with the program we did last week. Last week, we had in the studio MP for Tolon, Honorable Habib Idrisu, and Habib Idrisu painted a very dire photograph of what has happened at the Hajj. Habib Idrisu also said that if only Collins Dowders Committee had kept the MPP situation, as it were, the Hajj would have been more successful. ABA Fusaini is here to challenge those assertions and challenge them vigorously. So he's in the studio to talk to us. Also, we are finding out today from our coverage of Parliament that Alban Sumano Kingsford Bagbin, the Speaker, had been offered an executive position by President John Dramani Mahama. Mr. Bagbin told Parliament that he had been offered to be the chairman of the National Health Insurance Authority. We all know what the National Health Insurance Authority is, and we all know the controversy that it has stoked in the recent weeks in news. The purported appointment to the board of directors of the National Health Insurance Authority of a fake and criminal, fraudulent Ansan Sadeli became topical. And tonight, Alban Bagbin is telling us that he was earmarked to be chairman of the board, and he turned it down. He declined because, in his view, the authority of the legislature should not be subjected to the whims of the executive, and that's why he declined. He urged members of parliament to also decline board positions and keep to their supervisory role as legislators. That's very interesting and very controversial. We'll be discussing that as our first story, isn't it? And then we have some conversation about opposition and government for people who work in that space. We'll talk about that. Also, A+ is back on the news because last Friday, Dominic Ayine, the Attorney General, in one of his now much controversial press conferences, indicated that he may be prosecuting A+ over the national service scandal issues. He also said that it depends on how A+ cooperates with the committee, cooperates with the prosecutors or not. He said if he doesn't cooperate the way they expect him to cooperate, and that if no agreement is reached between the prosecutors and the role that they want Kwame A+ to play in the prosecution, then A+ himself will be a subject of the trial. Subsequent to that, A+ issued what looks like a response on social media where he had a movie showing, and the essence of it was shoot your gun, don't talk, go to court, I'll kill you, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we'll get that also in some detail. And then I have an interview. There's a major HR conference going on in Ghana this week. I think it begins tomorrow. And you know, HR is very important. Human capital, they call it these days. And we all didn't quite understand it until corporate Ghana was growing and expanding over the last 25 years. It has become a very, very important part of everyone's office, human capital. So we're going to have them here to tell us about what the conference is about and how that's going to make Ghana better. Then we will deal with the MPP issues. What are the MPP issues? The MPP says that in January next year, 2026, they will be electing a flag bearer. In fact, at the meeting today, the decision was that the flag bearer be elected in December 2025. But looking at their own constitution and looking at timelines, it appeared to someone who raised the matter before the National Executive Committee that the requirement was 6 months from the date of the last Council of Elders meeting. 6 months from today, we'll put the calendar into January. So it would appear that the MPP has now settled on January 31, 2026 to do the Almighty Congress to elect a flag bearer. Again, something new is happening. This is the first time that the MPP is going to go to a reorganization process by electing the flag bearer first. Hitherto, the process begins from down to top, which is to elect polling stations and then to elect constituencies, to elect regional leadership, and then to elect national leadership. Thereafter, then all of these leadership put together will foster the election of a flag bearer. Somehow, owing to the events of 2024 and looking at the disarray in which the MPP currently finds itself, it has been mooted and largely supported that the MPP would elect its flag bearer in January 2026. So the showdown is about to start. It's going to be a contest between Alhaji Mahamadou Bawumia, the former flag bearer, and you can call him the incumbent, and then Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong, who came second in the last election, securing 37.4 votes. The other day, I was talking to his people, and I said, Kennedy got 37 votes, and they kept correcting me. That is 37.4. I said, okay, I oblige. That is 37.4, because that is the truth. So Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong is in there. Osei Aweduchum, the former Minister for Education, has vigorously launched his campaign. This afternoon, he was with Obi on Asempa, and he spoke about his vision. Quite an articulate speaker, you can't take that from him. But what will be his chances of leading the MPP? We're going to discuss all that tonight. And then, Kwabena Agyapong tells me that he's launching his campaign in August, and he's certainly a candidate for this one. Of course, Kwabena Agyapong was also in the last race, but he dropped out after the super delegates. That's an important conversation, because today, the MPP have removed the super delegates hurdle from the entire process. A lot of that coming at the end of the show. Also, Chief Justice Tokonu has filed an application at an Accra High Court, and she wants the High Court to look at some of the injustices that she's alleging being perpetrated at the committee stage. We will have a look at that as well. It's 28 minutes to the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. This is Good Evening Ghana, and it's live. Okay. Asante Kotoko won the FA Cup the other day with what people say was a controversial penalty awarded at the Accra Sports Stadium. I was desperate to go and watch the game until something else cropped up and I couldn't make it. Now, though, let's set up the program. Start quickly. Over to the touch screen and begin our presentation for tonight's edition of the show. Some people sent me some videos that they wanted me to respond to, with a young man saying this and that and that. That's not very important, is it? All right, when we have occasion to deal with it, we'll deal with it. But first things and more important things first. Speaker Alban Sumanu Kingsford Bagbin says that he has turned down a board chairmanship that was offered to him by John Dramani Mahama. Let's see the video of what the speaker said. Then we'll come and I will deal with these analysis in some small detail. Let's have a look at the video.
Let's look at the concept in the Constitution. I listened to the minority leader. Let's look at the concept in the Constitution, where it is Parliament that exercises oversight over all those boards, public boards, and the same members of Parliament go to sit there and then report back to the House, come and participate, and then oversee what they have done over there. The principle of the law is clear. What is not specifically prohibited by the law is permitted by the law. But when it's specifically prohibited by the law, it's caught within that prohibition. And so, I, for example, as majority leader in 2009, when I was offered the position to be Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, I rejected it because I could not subsume the authority of a majority leader, the leader of the House, as a minister to be under the dictates and directive of the executive. So I have always argued against the majority leader of the House, being a minister of state. People disagreed with me, and they continued. Today, I was offered to be chair of the National Health Insurance Authority, as you all know. Speakers chair it. I rejected it because I think it's not proper to go and chair the board, submit reports under the supervision of a minister. The speaker is now under a minister, and the report will come to the House, and the House will now be presided over by the minister, the speaker. And I said no. I rejected it. But that's what used to happen. Some of you don't know. That is not proper. You cannot go and chair the boards, the corporations, work over there, submit reports through the minister. The minister submits the report to Parliament. Then you come and preside over those reports and approve or disapprove. Please, issues of conflict of interest, prejudice arise. I have no problem with any member testing the matter in court. That is what the courts are there for. But I'm very clear in my mind that the step I've taken is one of the correct and best steps to enforce the authority of this House, to be able to hold public officers to account to the good people of this country.
You may not like Sumanu Bagwin for one reason or the other, but you can't take from him his perfect understanding of law and governance. You can't take that from Alban Bagwin. And he's been in the parliament for a very long time. Bagwin was in the parliament since 1996. So he's been in parliament for that long and he understands it. I think he makes a good point, but that brings us to a very serious matter. This criminal here, this criminal fraudster running away, criminal with her, Mr. Sansadeli, whatever they are, this criminal here, found her way onto the National Health Insurance Authority board. This is the same board that Bagwin was going to chair. She's very lucky that she didn't get there to go and meet Bagwin as chairman. But this is the problem. This lady here is a professionally qualified medical doctor, practiced abroad, trained abroad, practiced abroad, part of the Ghana Medical and Dental Council in Ghana, delivered a seat for the NDC in the Sikado Keten that the NDC has never won. And I mean never, since 1996. Exclude 1992 because 1992, the MPP didn't contest. In 1996, since 96 till now, the seat has never been won. She contested in 2020, she came close, And in 2024, she delivered it for the NDC. Dr. Grace Ayensu is the subject of this conversation. Grace Ayensu here is a proper medically qualified doctor. But somehow, this fraudster and criminal Ansan Sadeli, who the police are still refusing to arrest, I understand that the CID are very close, to arrest this fraudster. They put this fraudster there because this Mr. Ansan Sadeli with an SS2 qualification, living SS as SS2, in his SS2 brain, says that he is advising government and they should put this fraudster on the national health insurance. I'm very sad about it because look at the green paper. If you look at the green paper which they'll put on right now, the green paper here says that in 12.1, and maybe you can't see it, maybe you can give them this camera, they'll see it properly. You will see that it says 2 health professionals with expertise in insurance, criminal Ansan Sadeli and Dr. Zanetta Rawlings. Now, how come that Grace Ayensu, who is still a member of parliament, who has not been made a minister, people think she'll be deputy minister of health, but that hasn't happened yet. How come that Grace Ayensu was not considered, but this criminal was considered, this fraudster, criminal Ansan Sadeli was considered for a position like that, and Grace Ayensu wasn't considered? Maybe Grace Ayensu is going to get something else, I don't know. But it tells us a lot about the things that happen in this system. And I'm dovetailing this into going to have a conversation about something that the difference between government and opposition and how people should react. So the NHIL, National Health Insurance Authority document has a space for professionals with expertise in health insurance. Dr. Zanetta Rawlings was picked, and Dr. Ansan Sadeli was picked as well. The criminal, fraudster, criminal, blackmailer. She's just a criminal. This SS2 boy, who didn't continue because his grade point average was bad, not that he can't pay for it, he can pay for it. And since then, he has not taken the opportunity after becoming an adult to read anything and get some brain in his head, and he just comes on TV to insult people. This criminal here, Mr. Ansan Sadeli, who claimed and bragged that he's the reason why they put Ansan Sadeli there, this fraudster, to do business. Let's have the photograph of Grace Ayensu and the fraudster again. I think that we should be looking at these things, and it's not partisan, it's not NDC or MPP. Grace Ayensu is a member of the NDC, but you can't take away the fact that she's a great doctor. Not great because she has operated on me before, great because of her pedigree. You can check her pedigree, you see it. And she is NDC, she's actually in green. She's NDC. But if we do the politics in a way that you have fraudsters like this criminal man sitting in America says that he's a SS2 guy and that he's advising government, then they'll produce this fraudster here, and after weeks of the process, the police have still not apprehended her. In between the time her story broke and today, the police have actually apprehended somebody who was faking as a doctor in Kaswa. We showed you the story. Until the police arrest her, we would always remind people that this is what is happening. That this fraudster criminal here says that she's a doctor. She's not a nurse. She's nothing near medicine. Fakes as a doctor, and they put her on National Health Insurance Authority. Grace Ayensu is in Parliament, has delivered a seat for the NDC that the NDC has never won since 1996. They've never won it, and she delivered the seat. She's in Parliament. She's a doctor who practices at Airport Women's Hospital. People go there, they know her. She's practiced in America. I think her daughter is even a doctor as well. With such pedigree, they don't consider her because this fraudster here comes to lie to them, and they didn't know at the time this fraudster was lying to them that he has only a very minimal and completely embarrassing educational background, refused to learn as many people do. Some have never even been to school. They've learned since they were age 30, and that's why the University of Ghana has adult studies. University of Kwame Nkrumah University also has it. People don't ever get the opportunity to go to school. People's school fees are not paid. Their father cannot pay, so they learn themselves. This fraudster here decides that that's not the way to go. Just blackmail people with this criminal, and they find themselves on National Health Insurance. I'm delighted that the democratic system and the media system and the social media in Ghana was able to draw attention to the government. And I'm extremely excited that this is one of the quickest things that any government in the Fourth Republic did. The Callistus Mahama issued a letter withdrawing the appointment of this fake and criminal Ansan Sadeli, who should be in prison by now, to go to court and let people hoot at her in the court. When they are bringing her to court, they should hoot at her because she's a criminal. And the day she comes to court, we'll see all the other things that they do, fraud, blackmail, and everything. The other day, Samson Ladi Ayinini called for her prosecution. I'll show you that video, and then we go to other things tonight. It's 17 minutes at the top of the hour, 9 o'clock. This is Good Evening Ghana. It's live. Here's my brother Samson.
Dr. Dominic Kwame Obeng Ando faced accusations of causing harm to patients and even murder before his Obengfo Hospital will be closed. He was arrested and put on trial for unregistered practice and operating an unlicensed health facility. He was in and out of court facing the Medical and Dental Council. He was named and shamed in a manner that it was and became not difficult at all for me to call his bluff and show that his suit against the multimedia group, Seth Kwame Boateng and Manasseh Azuri-Awini, was a dead on arrival nuisance action. We call it SLAP. They take it just to shut everybody up. They know it's nuisance. They know they won't win, but they take the suit because they have money. Fake Dr. Jonathan Ohene in Kunim damaged unsuspecting patients. He dragged and raped many of the women who visited his Nature's Hand Therapeutic Center in Gbawe before Manasseh Azuri-Awini and the Fourth Estate exposed him and got him arrested. The licensed predator who advertised himself as a doctor and a preacher, a man of God, was disowned by the Allied Health Professional Council. Now a fake doctor, Ansansa Dali, just had her appointment to the board of directors of the National Health Insurance Authority revoked. She had advertised herself as such and even got, a not diligent lawyer to issue what is now an embarrassing empty threat to those who exposed her. It may have been revoked even before she could be sworn in, but how credentials verification? That seems easy to do. Very easy to do. Just check with the Medical and Dental Council. She says she's graduated from Johns Hopkins, School of Medicine. Easy to check. How all this escaped all those involved in her appointment is curious. We have Niama Amatefio to thank for vigilance and the petition he took to the Medical and Dental Council, and Reginald Sechi Brown for also going further to confirm with the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine that Sansa Dali was never there. Now, this must not end here. The state must prosecute her to show that we are a serious country. A serious country that abhors this bad conduct. You're not a doctor. You say you're a doctor and you're killing people out of it. People are doing it. Why do we do that? People are carrying fake PhDs around. Why? She has committed various crimes, including violating the Health Professions Regulatory Bodies Act 2013 and the Criminal and Other Offences Act 1960, both of which prohibit making a false declaration for registration as a medical or dental practitioner, falsely using the title doctor or any designation suggesting professional licensure in medicine, practicing or receiving payments for medical services without being duly registered, falsely pretending and knowingly misrepresenting facts with intent to defraud, making a false document, and dealing with or knowingly presenting a forged document. The law prohibits all of this. So she's caught on just too many fronts of the law. We build a decent country on our good traditions and culture, the good Bible, the Quran, and the law, which teach us that we will suffer punishment and embarrassment if we do not tell the truth, we act corruptly, and if we do not act with integrity. And that is my take. The state must take this beyond revoking her appointment.
The state must prosecute her because she's a criminal. And next time he gets into Ghana, he must be arrested and sent to the court to deal with his contempt issues. He also is a criminal. That's who they are. Fraudsters, criminals, liars. That's who they are. Now, I want to say something about the difference between being in opposition and being in government. And I'm just saying this to young people who are working with political parties. You have to understand something. That when you are in opposition, anything is fair game. You can say anything and you get away with it. It's fine. When you're in opposition, the presidential candidate, the leader, can give anybody an appointment and he doesn't need to show CV. He can give anybody an appointment, doesn't need to show CV. He doesn't need to show any CV. He can give anybody an appointment. So if you watch this flyer behind me here, this was last year. John Dramani Mahama, presidential candidate as he then was, of the National Democratic Congress, was leading a Women's Day, women empowerment, empowering women for the future, the theme. Very, very good conference. And here you see it. This is John Dramani Mahama, the president. This is Joyce Bauer, one of my very good friends, but we are fighting right now. But she was a good friend of mine. I hope we'll be good friends again, or we'll fight again and be good friends again and fight again. This is Ansan Sadeli. And look at what they write there. Dr. Ansan Sadeli. This was the NDC in opposition. In opposition, nobody is going to check CV. No, I mean, we don't. Nobody checks CV. Nobody cares. But once you get to government, then the CV becomes important. The criminal fraudster here represented herself as a doctor, and everybody accepted it. Look at the caliber of people on the flyer. Look at the caliber. Jenna Nopokwa, then running mate. Mrs. Kuma Odro is a certified counselor. This is our friend Prophet Odro, who miscalculated the e-levy and said that he had paid some humongous e-levy, and social media came after him, and he likes to say "Tie," and he couldn't tie the e-levy. But he's a good guy. He's a good guy. This is the Venerable Charlotte Osei with much distinction. We all know that. And this is Joyce Bauer, a qualified lawyer. And this is President John Dramani Mahama. On this platform, had this thief, Ansan Sadeli, thief, criminal, told everyone here, convinced everyone here that she's a doctor. It didn't matter. It didn't matter because it's opposition. That's how it is. She's such a thief that she smuggled her way into, I don't remember, I don't even know what she said. I didn't look at the conference. I'm wondering what she said because she has nothing to speak like a doctor. As soon as she speaks, you know that she's not a doctor. She's a fraudster, criminal that the police should be finding. They have still not found. She managed to find herself in this conference. Fair enough. Why was she able to do that? She was able to do that because of opposition. Okay, so she convinced everyone here that she's a doctor. Now power comes. And then her criminal, Mr. Sansadeli, says that, hey, give me post. I have only SS2, so I can't get post. So give my post to the doctor. And the post is given to the doctor. But in government, you have to show the CV. When President Mahama appointed Mr. Tamaklo Eduji as the director of legal for the party, he didn't need to give anybody any CV. He just appointed him. But when he appointed him as the chief executive of the National Petroleum Authority, right there is a CV. Why is it so? Because the political party that forms the government, they actually take over the state. And the state has rules and regulations that nobody can change. So the state has rules and regulations that say, for instance, that if you want to nominate somebody for the Supreme Court, that person ought to have completed 15 years at the bar. If I am the best friend of the president loves me to bits, and he wins the election, and I have done 11 years at the bar, the president will not be able to nominate me for the Supreme Court. If he does that, Parliament will pull the nomination back. That's how government is. So that's for appointment and all of that. Let me have the photographs of the communicators, Chamima and Co. And I want to say something about that's for the appointment. You have to demonstrate your CV. And when the CV comes in, you see people are running helter-skelter all over the place these days. Tomorrow they say somebody is not a doctor. Tomorrow they say this. Then they change the appointment. This and that. Because they are in government. All these people play those roles in opposition. But in government, you can't do that. In government, the government takes over the state has its rules. Here is Felix Kwachio Fosu and Shamima Muslim. When it gets to government, and I'm talking about journalists, when a government is in place and you are a media person that supported the government in opposition and therefore you support the government in government, which is fair, there's no problem with that. You have to recognize that in supporting a government, you need to generate a narrative. You need brain. It's not as simple. In opposition, you just shout. So you come and then you are biting and say, hey, MPP government, reduce the petrol price. Akufo-Addo says they should carry chair for him. Look at 58 million cathedral hole. And then you go and swim in the hole. You can say that. And the people in opposition, they will like it. They will like you for that. As soon as they transition into government, you now need to develop a theory. When you cannot develop the theory because you don't have the capacity, the simple capacity to do it, you come and say about nurses that they don't have WASI. That is your way of explaining. That's your way of speaking for the government. But the government doesn't like that because you are making them look bad. Because you cannot think and you cannot create anything because you don't have the capacity. When the government is in government, you are useless to them. And people are beginning to find out. That's why you're seeing on social media, we won the election, and now they are talking to other people. No. You can bite. But if you cannot think, and you cannot create a theory, you cannot do the thesis, the synthesis, the antithesis in government, you are finished. Because you are going to be worrying Shamima. When you call them, they will not pick. Because your head is empty. What are you coming to tell them? Nurses are on strike. Government says nurses want $1 billion. And they get $2 billion and they cannot do it. If you are a government person, you have to generate a narrative. Well, come on your touch screen. Nurses say they want $2 billion. If that $2 billion is given to them, this is what's going to happen to the economy. Show your graphs, marginal utility, demand and supply. This is what's going to happen to the economy. Can we appeal to the nurses that they shouldn't do that? Because if you take $2 billion out, this is what is going to happen. Maybe they will not be able to do capex. If you do that, nobody will get angry with you. People might not agree with you, but they will know that you have developed a theory. It will happen like that. But if you don't have the capacity to develop a theory, you can't do the synthesis, you can't do the antithesis, then you will just come and say that, oh, nurses don't have WASI. They didn't pass WASI. And then the government doesn't want you because you are creating problem for them. Why are you creating problem for them? Because you cannot think. You can't think. You don't have thinking capacity. You don't have the tools to think. You think it is just about shouting. Shouting is easy. Go and tell Akufo-Addo to come and bring the 58 million. That's easy. That's easy. Everybody can say it. I can say it. Everyone can say it. So, Shamima, I'm going to give you a scenario of a conversation. That Shamima goes to Felix Kwachiofosu's office. And then they are sitting there and says, Felix, we should organize a press conference for the old man. And Felix says, you think so? I say, yeah. He said, what will people think? What are we? That's the conversations they have. I'm playing a scenario, but that's what happens. And then Shamima will say, okay, let's call some people, media people, and ask them. When they think about calling media people to ask them, they are not thinking about NDC media alone, no. They are thinking about media people who can think. So you biting over there with your empty head, they are not going to call you. And when you call them, Shamima will say, who is calling? He say, bite. So you put the phone down, let's talk to other people. They will call somebody, they will call Kwesi Pratt for sure. They will call somebody who, get me the photograph of Blessed Soga of Joy FM, if you can. And then also, we've used it before. And then also the TV3 guy, Okansi. Get me those two photographs. I want to make an illustration with it. So Shamima will get a phone call, and it's bite, and he'll say, oh, Charlie, put this guy, he's going to give us problems. He's going to talk about nurses don't have WASI for what? What? Charlie, throw him away. And they won't pick your call, and you'll get frustrated. Shamima, them are going to decide that, let us call Paul Adomotri for what it's worth, or Kofi Mensah for what it's worth. They know that he's not with them. So they'll call, they say, put it on speaker. They'll put you on speaker. Hey, it's Kofi Nati saying, this is Shamima's voice. They say, hey, madam, nene dem ko dying. I don't know, give me, I'll come to that. Give me the other, keep it, I'll call for it. Give me the other one. So back to the Shamima conversation. They say, nene dem ko dying, no friend. They say, oh, Charlie, how are you? They say, Kofi, listen, Charlie, how are you doing your 38%? Are you managing it? They will tease each other small. So, okay. They say, Charlie, wants to do a press conference for the old man. What do you think? They say, what are people going to say? They say, well, it's been 6 months. He hasn't done a press conference. So we are just thinking that he should do. What do you think? I said, what are going to be the issues? He said, why don't you wait for the mid-year review? This is Kofi, who is not NDCO, who they respect his brain. This is what he's telling them. That why don't you wait for the media review budget, and after that you can do the press conference? Because from what I'm seeing on the social media, the media review budget, you guys have something to say. I see that the Fitch has done an upgrading and a few things. The dollar is still stable, so maybe you should wait for that and do it. This is a genuine person who is not NDC, but because the two people respect his brain, they are going to call him. They'll put the phone down and say, okay, let's call Kweku Baako. So they'll call, Bombay, are you there? They say, you NDC people, what is happening? They say, oh, Bombay, we are doing well. This one there, you can't say we are not doing well. Look at the dollar, we are doing well. Akufo-Addo, was he able to do that? Then they will laugh. They'll say, Bombay, you want to do a press conference for the old man. What do you think? He say, when? So around this time. They'll say, what are you going to say? We've said everything already. What are you going to say? So, well, we think that we should do a press conference for him. Then he might also say, do you have anything really to say? Then they'll ask him that, or you think we should finish the media review? They will say, yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe you can finish the media review. That's how they make their decisions. They are not making decisions with some empty head who is going to insult nurses and create problem for them. No, they are making their decisions with intelligent people, whether they are in NDC or they are in MPP, they are blue or they are red, because media is a fraternity. Media is a fraternity. So that's what happens. So when you are sitting down there, you are talking bite and your head is empty, when the party is in government as it is, you will be frustrated because you can't think, you can't create a theory, you can't create a thesis. You just come and you see, let people know that it doesn't matter about who passed WASSCE or who didn't pass WASSCE. It doesn't matter. When you are speaking on television and you are inarticulate, people can tell. And you are struggling to think, people can tell. When your brain capacity is not 16 karat, people can tell. They may not be NDC or MPP. They may not agree with what you are saying in terms of politics, but they can tell that this guy is smart. They can tell. I've never met Blessed Sogan before of Joy FM. When I watched his introduction to a Joy FM news and current affairs program, now give me Blessed Sogan, I came to the studio and said, wow, this guy is solid. This guy is solid. I said it before. Maybe some of you watching today didn't see it, but I said it before. I just heard the introduction. It's just that I didn't watch the whole program. He just said, this is Blessed Sogan, welcome to something he talked. You see, the way he picked the thing, I knew that the guy is solid. Look at Okanse at TV3. When you listen to Okanse, in a Saturday morning, I was watching him moderating the, I call it pre-news file. They have I think it's key points, that's what they call it. I saw him monitoring key points, and I was excited. Actually, this guy is solid. You see, some people are solid. They don't make noise. Those with their empty head come and talk about their great point. You talk about great point. People are talking about great point from Warwick, you know. You are talking about great points from... Oh, please. Let's get serious. This guy is solid. Okanse is solid. And I'm excited that we have journalists who are solid. So it's important that we let people know. Young people right now who are following Kennedy Japan, you are following Mahamadou Bawumia, you are following Kwabene Japan. Beware that the day they become president is no longer about your shouting. It's about your ability to think and your genuine CV, not fake doctor, fake this, fake. If you do that, they love you. Yes, because you work for them on the campaign. But in government, they have to submit the CV to somebody. And the check will come back and Callistus Mahama will write that the appointment revoked. And it will pain the president because he likes you. But now he has become owner of the state. And he has to apply the principles laid out by the state. And that includes CV. So you will be found wanting. And then the president will beg you and say, Charlie, I beg you, you know, this and that and that. You see my friend Apia Stadium, very good friend of mine. Apia came and did a video and said, oh, they Odebema mi bia, school, but the Odebema mi bia, magic. President Mahama loves Apia Stadium. I'm sure that if Apia Stadium had qualification, he would have been at National Security as the deputy director. But in the circumstances that myself and Kwame Apia find ourselves, we cannot be deputy national security. We just have to contain and maintain our loyalty to John Dramani Mahama and hope that our children, and I like Apia Stadium for that, he's very genuine about that. He's very honest about that. And he's hoping that John Dramani Mahama and the NDC will stay in power long, and then his children who are going to SSS will climb up to university, they'll become a lawyer, And one day, when the NDC is still in power and John Mahama is a godfather, he will go to John Mahama and say, this is my daughter. And John Mahama will say, Appiah's daughter, make her deputy attorney general because she has been called to the bar. That's how it works. It's not empty talk. It's not empty head. As for opposition, we can all shout. But the day you come to government, you have to show your CV and you have to show your capacity. That's food for thought. Some people understand. Some people may not know why. Many people understand. Let's go to Bobie Ansan. And when he has finished, we'll take text messages. ABF Husseini is ready for the interview. Later on, we have an HR interview also coming up. So this is what Bobie Ansan said. I don't know why he said it, but that's what he said.
Okay, that NDC for sure no more straight. But NDC subai. Omo power na omo ewura office pe air condition bono. No to be Chilean cruiser pe na ni Jimmy Aba. NDC ni BS subai. Onye ewura office ohun air condition first 4 years na yemano. That is how a typical NDC person thinks. Okay, that NDC for sure no more straight. But NDC subai. Omo power na omo ewura office pe air condition bono no to be Chilean cruiser pe na ni Jimmy Aba. NDC ni BS subai. Onye ewura office ohun air condition first 4 years na yemano. That is how a typical.
No, I completely disagree with that. I know NDC people. I completely disagree with that. ABF Hussein is shaking his head. He also disagrees. I completely disagree. I mean, how can Bobie it's even disrespectful? The National Democratic Congress, a whole big party like that, and you say that Sana NDC is that better someone like that? You don't respect. To be quite easy like that, you don't respect. I mean, how can you talk? If he was an MPP man, like they'll sack him. MPP, the elders there, they are very brutal. Hakaman Oswajiman or Yaosafo Mafo is watching TV and you say something like that a MPP Nibia Suba, they will sack you from the party. Are you mad? You small boy, you come and talk like this about a party that's 30 years old. That's the Omuhu air conditioning. Really? Bobie, come and retract. Otherwise, every day I'll play it. Retract that thing you said about the NDC. It's not true. Some of us knew the NDC before you came. And we know the distinction. John Mahama was an NDC minister. Then you talk like this and you expect... Oh, please. Let's see whether you have text messages. Mikhail, let's start with you.
Right. So we have from Honorable Frank Amankwa. He says, watching live from Katasi, Paul, the National Executive Council has given me hope that 2028 is possible to retain power because the NDC don't want to see us together, but with unity, coming back to power is possible. We have Jima saying, Apostle Paul, I miss you so much. Well, he's here for you. NPP must do the right thing and bring all his people together to save Ghana on 7 December 2028. Okay, he continues. The UP tradition is solid and is tried and tested for Ghana's development. NPP should not run its internal elections like national elections. Flag bearer campaigns should be filmed and broadcast on any media. It should remain a secret. The real enemy of any NPP flag bearer aspirants is the NDC. We should not be enemies to each other. Moving on, we also have from Michael GH. He says, good evening, Paul. You and Okateche have been discussed somewhere. You both are a target for some morning show hosts. Their agenda is to attack the two of you and make you guys unpopular. But Sandra responds by saying, forget, if they attack them, people also go after them. And Ishmael says they can't do anything, senior. Daniel Barton says the elephant is the winning symbol. DMB leading the battle. Moving on, we've also got some other messages on Miss Daly. Daniel Barton says it's just favoritism, no background check. Sule Yakubu says crime has no expiry date. Abu Bakari Al Sadat says watching you live from Nalerigu in the northeast region. Thank you to all our viewers in the northeast. Prince Casemiro says let's catch this Ann Sansa Daly. Prince, what do you mean by catch? He continues by saying I will stop practicing as a doctor if this girl is not prosecuted. Well, she's a woman, not a girl. We also have God's Way saying he's not as excited about Grace Ayensu. She says, Grace Ayensu, with all her insults on Akosa Menu, has nothing good in this government. Hiroshima Guy says what the speaker said is perfect. Henceforth, it will be imperative on the legislature to pass a legislation on this. No one from Parliament should be appointed or accept any position on board whatsoever. Lastly, we have from Samuel Ofosuba. He says, good evening, Paul, and your beautiful disciples. With the academic pedigree of the Council of Elders, who advised the experienced President John Mahama of Ghana, how is it possible that such a fake doctor of medicine could deceive them to be approved for such a sensitive and delicate national position. He continues, this shows the incompetence of the NDC fraternity and the Mahama administration. Very strong words. I believe most of the appointees in this government are fully packed with these fake certificates. Those detected must be arrested by the police service and the security system and charge them to face the rigors of the court. Lastly, we have Rachel saying, exactly my question on KT's program some minutes earlier. Where is the fake doctor and her CV? Patty, what do you have for us?
All right. Thank you, Mikhail. So coming from Rabiu, lecturer, he says, for Dr. Baumia, he's the future of NPP in our contemporary times. Gastiman says, so the government and the president is not ashamed of this big doctor walking around free. This is an embarrassment to the country. No arrests, no shame, yet they harass the opposition daily like saints. This is not government, it's a corrupt cartel protecting its own. Yalferbi says the government knows Sansa Daly is a fraudster and presented a fake document for the position of the board of the NHIA, but the government withdrew her appointment without any arrest. A lot of people have been complicit and were arrested to a similar crime of fake doctor. So if the security and the state intelligence agencies are silent on this matter, it motivates others to do the same. Master Planner Jr. from Kentampo says, is it that the NDC members and appointees of President Mahama are creating content on fake PhD challenge? They should better go to TikTok and leave governance for serious people. It's a big shame to President Mahama and the NDC. Greetings to Dr. Kingsley Ajima, MP for Boka South. Anane Christopher says, look at the doctor. If you're a doctor, does it mean you can manage NHIA? And then Opoku Mensa replies him saying, but a fraudster who has fake certificates can manage NHIA. Is that what you're trying to say? And lastly, coming from Stephen Tufo, he says, we are all supporting Kennedy. He's going to be the president. Honorable Ken can easily do the job and do it very good. Now back to you.
All right, I have one text message to read. It says that you have touched a raw nerve. The education you've given on political expectations is succinct. Many are those who say, did you ask me for CV when we're campaigning? The misunderstanding of transition has caused many to be crestfallen when some positions are not given to them. Hopefully, this education can be sustained within the political ranks and beyond your media campaign, so Ghana and its political activists can be better for it. Good evening, Ghana. And hi to Mr. Sansa Delhi. I like that, Mr. Sansa Delhi. Okay, more politics coming on the show later on, but ABF Husseini is my senior, and he insists that he has to have to interview him now. If he goes away, he will beat me. You know, those days he was in the graphic. But AB, I have to say something for you. The battle that you fought in the days of the 2007, 2008 with Alaji and Alaji on Radio Gold. I remember how you were harassed at the graphic, and a very weird press release was made that graphic people cannot go and speak anywhere and all of that. That has robbed us of very senior editors contributing to political shows. But you held the fort, you held your own, you suffered for it, you became a member of parliament, and today here you are dealing with the Hajj. Congratulations, ABF Husseini, the man of proverbs. When are you coming to parliament again?
Oh, Paul, everything has an expiry date, even including the human being and the titles and the positions you occupy.
Yeah.
So the very day you enter into some office, you must begin to count your days and know that there will come a time when you no longer occupy that position. I have served the good people of Sanaru for 12 good years.
Oh, it was 12 years, 3 times.
Yes. And so I can say without any item of hesitation that the record that I've left in the Sanaru constituency, Paul, is unmatched. The biggest credit for me, the biggest aspiration that I've ever harbored is to contribute to elevating and making life better for people that I serve with diligence, humility, and the sacrifices that go with it. So, Paul, I can say without any out of that, that the record of accomplishment in the Sanaru constituency in terms of development, electricity, roads, water, schools, counted so many. I live with a very high sense.
You have a good record. President Mahama is not running for president. Are you going to run for president in NDC?
Under the aegis of the NDC and President Mahama, the record is solid.
Are you going to run for president?
Paul, no matter how tall you are, you can always see tomorrow. So nobody knows what will happen tomorrow. Okay. I am not standing here and by any stretch of logic saying that I will run for president. No, I cannot. As I sit here, when you are still wrestling with Peter, you don't add Paul to the fight. So I want to say without any idea of that the NDC is a party that gives everybody the opportunity for your true value to manifest. And I have no doubt in my that in the trueness of time, when everything is up to its zenith and the call comes on you from the people, why not? But as we speak now, no, there's no such ambition as I speak.
Let's talk about the Hajj, for which reason I spoke to you and Alhaji Collins.
And Paul, I just wanted to crave your indulgence because you mentioned Bobby and others. I can understand
yes.
The thing you said. These are some fits of frustration you can feel from people who have genuinely committed themselves to working very hard. In fact, some have put their lives on the line for the party. And they truly believe that having made that high level of sacrifice, they deserve to be recognized and given certain positions. I have no doubt in my mind that President John Dramani Mahama, who is not just an icon of our party, but for this country, is a very well-meaning and very strategic president. As and when I believe that people are truly primed for certain positions, President Mahama is not a president who overlooked their talents and contribution to the NDC. I have had
eventually they will be.
Paul, I have had similar calls about people saying, what are
they doing with you? We always ask them, what are they doing with you?
Wait, in the trueness of time, His Excellency President Mahama would make, and the party and the NDC party would make use of whatever available talent there. Paul, you know, you are a football fan.
Yes.
A coach knows when to bring in people and when to substitute. And I will be the last person sitting here to say, President Mahama is perfect. As a human being, he's not perfect. But I'm saying that to the best of his ability and to the human infallibility that is in him, he will do the best for members of the party. So, in as much as I sympathize with a lot of our rank and file who have genuinely worked so hard for this party to come to power, some of them have borne even scars that they suffered in the course of working for the party. And so I just can plead with them that they should exercise some patience. They should temper maybe their frustrations and language. Paul, when you are hungry, you don't jump into the cooking pot.
Because it will burn you.
Exactly. So you temper your time and wait for the food to be prepared. And the trueness of time, like I said, I want to believe that the party will duly recognize and reward them for whatever sacrifices they've made.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting comments from ABA Fusaini. ABA, on Hajj now, do you want to see what Honorable Habib said for the purpose of our viewers so they can put the conversation in perspective?
I think it is fair.
Yes, viewers, let's see the most important part of what Honorable Habib said. He alleged that there were difficulties with the Hajj, and we all sympathize with it. This is what he said. So these videos are people who are struggling in the Hajj?
Yes, these are people who are struggling. I think that is in Mina in their tent. And they cannot even, they will put a tent that was meant for like 50 people. They'll put 150 people there. So they will pack you like yam, a tuber of yam. They'll just pack you like that. You cannot even, a toilet that you're supposed to use that is meant for like 20 people. You have like 100 people who are queuing to use that toilet. The services being provided to them, Paul, is very bad. And I feel very sad as a Muslim. And that, moving forward, we need to take politics out of the organization of Hajj. If members or if pilgrims are to even pay 200,000 Ghana cedi to go, because the religion always not make it mandatory, it is an optional mandatory. The optional being that they said, perform Hajj if you can afford it, if you can do it. So if you cannot, you are not forced to do it. So if you can pay, because when you go, other countries go to Hajj, they pay a lot of money. When they get to, let's say, Medina, they stay like in Hilton. When they get to Makkah, they are staying in Pullman, Zamzam, and other big hotels. When they get to Mina, and to an extent, Paul, when they go to Arafah, the Ghanaian pilgrims, they did not even see their bus, that they have to walk from Arafah to Muzdalifah, which is around 11 kilometers. People have to walk from Arafah to Muzdalifah and sleep in Muzdalifah. Ordinary from Muzdalifah, you already walk from Muzdalifah to Jamarat. That is where they do the stone throwing. But to allow or subject Ghanaian pilgrims that they have to walk 11 kilometers from Arfa to Muzdalifah, that they have to walk additional 6.5 kilometers from Muzdalifah to Jamarat.
Why are they walking? No car?
The cars were not available. The buses that the Hajj task force were supposed to provide to them, they could not. They could not even find the buses. They didn't even know where they are. And even when they came, instead of them taking their time, because you've been out of power for 8 years, how is Hajj organized? There are changes so that you can leave some of the people, the institutional memory, to guide you, so that next year you can be able to, do your own Hajj. They just make it, like I said, the politics. They will sack everybody to go. Even last minute, issuing of visa was a problem because their IT system had crashed, that they could not even issue visas and other things. Because
Honorable AVA Hussein, you are the deputy in charge of Hajj this year. Why did all these things happen to Ghanaians?
Paul, through Islamic transition, I wish to start by saying, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Paul, in this thing that we are admonished as Muslims, that if even in the most dire of circumstances, endeavor to tell the truth.
Endeavor to tell the truth.
Endeavor to tell the truth, even at the peril of your life. I'm so disappointed with my junior brother, Honorable Habib, that on such a sacred matter as Hajj, a pillar of Islam, he can lie so profusely. And the object of the lie, the intention behind the lie, is for mischief. Well, I've always said it that if somebody passes bad air on you and you are overzealous to retaliate, you bring out the real thing. I'm sure that he was pained by the monumental success of this large Hajj. And Paul, I sitting here will be the last person to make a claim that the last Hajj was perfect, 100%. There's no such human enterprise as perfection. Perfection is an ideal that people work towards, but it's never attained. So, in as much as people are not perfect, but Paul, I can say without any doubt that anybody who has respect for the truth, who is fair-minded, and who believes that there is a day of accountability, that before his maker, he would answer questions about what he said, would say that this Hajj was a celebrated success, was a profound success. Paul, the allegations he made about packing people like yam, 150 people in a tent, it's simply not true.
Not true?
Paul, even in Mina, you didn't even have 100 people. Ask anybody who goes to Mina and others. Paul, if you look at the Mina, it's a small valley. It's not a very big valley. Where in the first instance, they gather sometimes up to 3.5 million pilgrims at one spot. So it's a pretty cramped place. Notwithstanding that, Paul, in no tent would you have even 100 people, let alone 150 that my brother Habib has sought to put out. It's totally false. It's just to say something to dent the image and integrity of the Hajj company. And listen to him. He says that even in a place where he has been to Makkah many times, he knows that from Muzdalifah to the Jamarat is a place where we're going to stone the devil.
Stone the devil?
To stone
the devil.
Yeah, it is specific. It's one of our
okay, all right.
It's one of the cardinal ceremonies that you undertake in the course of the Hajj. You sleep in Muzdalifah and the following morning, early morning, they go and stone the devil for trying to tempt our holy prophet and others. So that place, Paul, is done on foot. Nobody takes a car.
Oh, I see. It's part of the pilgrimage that's done on foot.
Yes, it's done on foot. So for you to even go and mention that,
how long is it?
They left people there. I think it's about between 4 to 5 kilometers. Not too far, Paul.
Kilometers could be far.
Yes, it's not too far, Paul.
Okay.
Because
if everyone is walking,
a procession.
Yeah, everyone is
so
walking.
You don't. Yeah. It's false. And Paul, when he said even people were walking from Arafat to Muzdalifah to Jamarat, it's not true. In fact, Paul, I'm sure you have access to the chairman of the Hajj Task Force.
Collins Dowda.
Honorable Collins Dowda. You can ask him. Collins Dowda and some members of the Hajj Task Force were the last people to leave the place. They waited until the buses had conveyed virtually all the pilgrims under the aegis of the Hajj Task Force before they themselves left. So it cannot be true. And Paul, when you pay your dues to the Hajj, you pay to the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah Affairs in Saudi Arabia, and they then have accredited agencies like companies that deal with the buses, accommodation, food, caterers, and others. And so it is they who even pay these monies to this accredited, and they ensure that their standards are kept and are delivered. So the buses are there on time as much as possible. Of course, I'm saying that it's a human enterprise. You can have a situation where, for one reason or another, is in 1 or 2 instances, about 30 minutes or 15 minutes of some delays. But to a large extent, Paul, all the agencies that were tasked, from accommodation to transportation to food delivery and the tour of the sites and others, were up to date and up to task and up on time. So it is very shocking that Honorable Habib, who was part of the 2024 Hajj organization group, and Paul, let me tell you that in the last Hajj that was operated by the Hajj Task Force, is unprecedented in the annals of our country's history. Paul, for the first time in our Hajj, we broke the records of airlifting about 6,000 Ghanaian pilgrims. When Habib and Co were given the quota of 5,000, they could hardly make 3,500. And with the 3,500, it was a woeful record that they posted. Paul, they left a woeful, a huge debt of about $4.5 million debt, which this Hajj Task Force had to come and pay, 50% of which already has been paid. Paul, there were a litany of complaints, even with just 3,500, compared to about the 6,000 that this Hajj Task Force made. Paul, I want to take this opportunity to also disabuse the minds of people, and that is part of that. In Abis, he tried to mention it, that it is only for exceptionally rich people who must go on the Hajj. Yes, you must have a certain modicum of money, but I come to understand why they took the Hajj fare to the dizzying height of 75,000 Ghana cedis. Paul, when they had a duty to their Muslim brothers and sisters to ensure that they were transparent in their organization, they had a duty to be competent in order to bring down the fares. They could not do it. Not a single person was subsidized by the state, but the Collins Dowda administration, Paul, under the directive given by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, who I would say is a huge blessing to the Islamic Ummah. Under the directives of the president, the Collins Dowda administration went and did a very competent job in Saudi Arabia in their negotiations. Paul, they managed to negotiate with the house owners, that's the hotel owners, the catering services, the transport owners, and beat down the price. So consequently, when they returned from Saudi Arabia after the Hajj conference, they managed to reduce the Hajj fare from 75,000 Ghana cedis, Paul, to 62,000 Ghana cedis.
Somebody just sends a text that the distance between Arafat and Muzdalifa is approximately 8 kilometers. That's 5 miles.
No, it's the Jamarat, not Arafat.
Okay. Arafat and where is the walking journey?
It's the Jamarat. It's the Jamarat. The Jamarat.
This journey is
from Muzdalifa
typically undertaken on the 9th of the Dhul Hajj during Hajj.
Yes, Paul.
Pilgrims often walk this distance.
Yes.
Though buses and other transportation options are also available.
Yes, Paul.
Okay.
So you just tell you that.
So buses are available. Why did we make our people walk?
No, Paul. I'm saying that one is from Muzdalifa to Jamarat, not Arafat.
Not Arafat. Okay.
Not Arafat. So if you said it, you didn't get it. Yeah. So Paul, I'm just saying unprecedented. This was the cheapest fare in the West African sub-region, if not the entire Africa.
And you delivered the same thing that the high fare was delivering.
In fact, better. Look,
better.
Paul,
okay.
They charge more than 1,000 Saudi riyals. The Habib group charge more than 1,000 riyals for the same accommodation. Let me make it very clear. The High Task Force, you were trying to create a picture that they set everything aside. The accommodation they use was exactly the same accommodation they used. The difference is that in terms of the Collins Dauda Hajj, so they added 5-star and 4-star hotels, which they didn't. They were consigned to 2- and 3-star hotels, for which they charged more than 1,000 than what the Collins Dauda committee charged. Okay? And in addition, they made accommodation more available and more accessible in the 5-star hotels that they got. Closer, not too far from the Haram. That is the Holy Kaaba, where you go to make supplications. So clearly, there is no iota of doubt that this last Hajj that was organized by the Collins Dauda group. In fact, if you are going to make comparisons, it's like the heaven and earth.
So those videos that came up
into significance.
Those videos that came up.
Paul, I'm just shaving you. Don't be in a hurry to touch your head.
Okay, all right.
Paul, there was one video that they floated and said that they had taken our pilgrims to abandoned structures.
Mm-hmm.
You know the picture they posted, Paul?
No.
Was the Hajj village in Ghana here?
Oh, the one in Ghana.
Go and look at the picture. Is the Hajj village in Ghana here?
But does it look like abandoned?
That is what they posted. They posted that as that they posted that, you know, the pilgrims were occupied at the Hajj village here. So they took the picture and said that, oh, this was the period where they took our pilgrims and put them in abandoned structures. Mischievous, blatant lies that they put. Paul, they even got one of them on social media. He came and made all sorts of allegations with the intent to dent the image and integrity of the Hajj task force. Only after 3 days, the person came back and said he had gone and he couldn't sleep and his conscience troubled him. And he was begging Almighty Allah to forgive him. And he was asking the Hajj task force to forgive him because he was part of a group that had been put together to concoct and peddle falsehood with the intent to denigrate the image and integrity of the Hajj task force. And so he was rendering an unqualified apology to the Hajj task force and pleading for mercy and for forgiveness. So these were part of the things that Habib and Co sought to project. Because, Paul, the bare truth is that they were looking for loopholes which to use to assail the Collins Dauda task force. Unfortunately, they could not get. And that is why I'm saying that, but for the competence exhibited by the Collins Dauda task force, we would have even missed the 2025 Hajj. Because in the run-up to the elections, they were busy campaigning and left the Hajj operations for which they were supposed to time.
So this video we are seeing on the TV now,
yes.
what is it? This video?
Paul, and I'm coming to another point.
So is this Ghana, this video?
Paul, there were some areas where we had this phenomenon, and I have had the unpleasant duty to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
The Saudi authorities issued a statement that they will fiercely clamp down on those who use tourist visa. You know, in the Hajj organization, they deal with nation states.
Mm-hmm.
So they give every country a quota.
Yeah.
So, but outside the quota, sometimes some people say they can organize expeditions to Hajj for individuals who cannot maybe find their way in the main Hajj stream. So they go and get tourist visa. But unfortunately this year, the Saudi authorities said that they are going to clamp down heavily on tourist visa. And they will not allow anybody parading a tourist visa to perform the Hajj.
So what happened to those?
So there were some of these people, and sometimes, so that's why you see in some of these pictures, some who had tourist visa attempting to infiltrate into the mainstream Hajj, into their facilities.
So, but did you have any group of people with you who had tourist visa?
No.
Zero.
All those who went with the Hajj task force had Hajj visas. And so you will hear that a lot of people were arrested by the Saudi authorities. And they were even calling on the Hajj task force to try and come and intervene to save them. Some of them who managed to find their way out of the cauldron that the Saudi security people had thrown around the Hajj tourist visas tried to infiltrate and come into the tents of where the Hajj task force.
So these photographs are not from the Ghanaian Hajj pilgrims who were organized by the Ghanaian Hajj authority.
I can tell you without any doubt that every single Ghanaian pilgrim under the aegis of the Hajj task force was allocated a tent, a space in a tent.
How many were they all together? Do you know?
That's about 6,000. That's why I told you that.
Are they all back?
Unprecedented. We are starting on Friday
to start coming back.
The first batch of pilgrims to return. So, Paul, I can tell you without any doubt that every single pilgrim at Mina and at Arafat had places allocated to them. There was not a single person who was left out not being allocated a tent. There were. You can say that yes, the pressure was a little bit in terms of the crowd, but you cannot say that there were people who were not allocated in it. Everybody was allocated a tent, and they had tents and space to sleep in. It will not be as comfortable as anybody who goes to Mina for the distance. In the tents, because I just told you that because of the crowd, you can crowd about 3.5 million people into that valley in Mina. So it is not like it's a hotel where you go and have large space in a room, like a room like this to one person. No, they are in tents. So it's a tent city that is put in so that spaces are allocated to every country. They can give your country maybe 20.
So you have male side and female side?
No, they mix.
So married couple can be in one tent?
No, they can make if you happen to go. Sometimes they go by agents. You know, it's the agents who bring in the pilgrims. So sometimes an agent can take a tent together with some other people, or you can get about 3 or 4 agents taking one tent and then harboring their pilgrims in that tent. So that is how the allocation is done. So not a single person who went under the aegis of the Hajj Task Force was left outside. They were all allocated tents. It's when some of these people who are officially not with the team infiltrate and attempt to enter into the teams that they dilute the numbers that you are talking about. So, okay. Paul, I can tell you that this is one of the best Hajj that have been, not only in terms of the numbers. Paul, for the first time in our history, passports. The Hajj village hosted the passport office where passports were issued to pilgrims at the Hajj village at no sweat. The maximum period for the issuance of the passport was 72 hours.
Somebody has also sent me another text. It's an interesting topic people are interested in as we have to be wrapping up. It says, this is from Musa Dankwa, whom we know. He's in Mecca doing the Hajj, and this is what he got to say. Quote, eyewitness accounts, just as we were told in the Quran, there are grades of Jannah, paradise, he said. In Mina, those who paid right price got premium and business class accommodation to sleep in, while the rest of us were low-cost budget accommodation. Folks, the fourth picture is how we slept in Mina and Arafah. Yes, we paid low-cost Hajj. We compounded our problem with, as usual, packing nearly 6,000 pilgrims into accommodation meant for 5,000. We don't have overcrowding issues at the hotels, meaning the controls here work, but not in the camps. I am hearing the president wants to reduce the Hajj fares further. We beg, I will urge him to use the amounts to secure a better and bigger camp for our contingent in future. If this is the standard, the pilgrims will still be complaining next Hajj as they will continue to sleep outside in the sun. That's from somebody who is there. So
you see somebody who is there.
Yes.
He has not indicated to you that somebody or some group of people were there who didn't get space. He's only talking about.
But he says he's talking about comfort. Exciting. Yes.
He's talking about comfort.
Yeah.
The other one he's showing you is for a group of business people who went to erect uses at spaces. And these are commercial rates. Can you imagine that some of them will pay as much as $10,000
for the space?
To get space there. Because they have the ability to pay. Okay? So you cannot make that comparison with nation states who come and they are giving spaces in their tents to harbor their people.
But he thinks we shouldn't reduce the 6,000 further.
So you know that, Paul, in as much as we say that it's for those who can afford, are you saying that it is not the duty of the Hajj organizing agents, if they can do everything possible to bring it down as much as possible for their
it will mean the state has to subsidize it.
No. Like I told you in this particular, not a peso of subsidy was paid. Competent negotiations by the Hajj Task Force helped to bring the price down, fare down. In fact, from the airlines, they managed to even get the fare slashed by $100 to $150 to get accommodation, like I just gave you. When the Habib committee were charging 2,500 riyals. They were taking 1,500 riyals, giving them a difference of 1,000 riyals. So you can beat it down through competent negotiations, through very transparent, unlike the opaque negotiations that they went to do. So you can do so many things in the service of your Muslim Ummah to bring down the fare so that as many people, Paul, it's not an accident that this year was the most heavily patronized Hajj in the history of our country, where we burst our quota. They were given a quota of 5,000 plus. Paul, they could not even hit 4,000. They did 3,500.
Because the price was
and
too
still
high.
struggled at 75,000 Ghana cedis. So you see that when a more God-fearing, more competent task force came into this and went and did very transparent, fair negotiations, they managed to bring the fare down. And it's a blessing to the Islamic Ummah. And that's why I'm saying that with the intervention of President Mama, who have described as a blessing to the Islamic Ummah, so many goodies came, like I just indicated to you, bringing us the services of the passport office. Paul, in 2024, for instance, there were people who went to pay to go to Hajj. In fact, and applied for passport. The Hajj was over about 6 months even before they got their passports. You could not personalize the Hajj. But this one, within 72, maximum 72 hours, people got their passports. Okay, because for the first time in the Hajj village,
the final matter is this: that the final matter is that the Hajj task force, Collins Dowda and ABF Husseini sacked everyone and had new people.
Paul, I thank you very much for reminding me. You know, somebody was wrestling with a madman, and the man he managed to put the madman put him down, and while he was lying under, he beat the madman. The madman said, "Well, thank you very much, my brother. I forgot that the teeth was also part of the fight." Paul,
I see.
Let me tell you without any iota of doubt, when this high task force came, more than 90% of their staff and others, not a single person who worked with the Habib committee was sacked. The entire IT department, okay, the entire IT department under Alhaji Hamza, you can ask him.
They are still there.
They maintained everybody. Everybody. The documentation department were those who worked with Hajj 2024. They maintained everybody, including even some people in finance. So you see, that's why I said that I feel very sad that my brother Habib I don't know what pretext, whether for purposes of mischief or for political point squaring, we want to go and lie about this very noble endeavor.
When they come from the Hajj, can you bring some of them into the studio
yes,
so we can talk
Paul,
about
I would even challenge Metro TV. When they will start returning from the Hajj on Friday.
Next week we can have some of them.
Yes, just this Friday.
So next week we can have some of them in the studio.
You pay a visit to them, talk to the staff, go to the IT department, ask them, is it your first time here? Almost all of them will tell you that they work for the 2024 Hajj. If you go to the department, they will tell you something. So where
are they still based at the Jubilee House? The Hajj, is it still based at the Jubilee House?
No, we have a Hajj village at the airport.
Yeah, I know. That's where the secretariat is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So all the things there were done, and I can tell you without any doubt that Paul, this is one of the best Hajj that was. Even for the first time in the Hajj again, Muslims, you know, when you go, we wear this white.
Yes.
And then put the other white one as your downward covering. For the first time, this was given free of charge.
Oh, fantastic.
This would have cost between 500, quality one, between 500 and 800 Ghana cedis. Free of charge. Courtesy His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. Okay? Paul, they are given, I'm sure I should have brought one of the bags here. Beautiful bags. 2 of them. One bigger to contain your items, and the one you can sling and use your documentation on. Free of charge.
Oh, I see.
Free.
I see.
None of this existed with the previous Hajj task force.
With more money.
With 75,000.
And this
they
was
took 75,000 from the poor pilgrims of Ghana and delivered a shoddy job. Because like I told you, Paul, at the end of it, they left $4.5 million debt. Dollars.
Oh, I see.
Half of which this Hajj task force has already settled, and there's a plan in place to retire the debt. This is the record of this. So how can the pot be calling the kettle black?
Thank you, ABA.
So clearly, Paul, I'm sure that
finally, yes.
I want to say that, like I said from the beginning, I sitting here will be the last to sit here and claim perfection. There are 1 or 2 areas, of course, we can make an improvement with. But overall, Paul, I can say with my head very high that this was a fantastic job that the Hajj Task Force discharged. Paul, you are talking about a process of first even organizing pilgrims, getting passports for them, registering them, getting their documentation, negotiating with airlines, negotiating with transport companies, negotiating with caterers and other things. And the beautiful thing, Paul, in this year's they cooked local Ghanaian food. Okay? Even though it was a contract given to a Saudi Al-Qusar, the catering company called Al-Qusar. There were Ghanaians recruited to work for them, and Ghanaian food was prepared, including Tuozafi, Mian Kuka, Mian Sure.
In Saudi Arabia.
Keke, Wache. All they were cooking for Ghanaian people.
Watching at Tinkafa.
Yes.
In Saudi Arabia.
In Saudi Arabia.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's why I'm telling you that if you put all the facets of this Hajj organization, Paul, you will give thumbs up to this Colin Dowder.
We'll do more work.
I think that we should
we'll do more work.
We should give credit where it is due.
Thank you, Abi Fuseni. We'll do more work. We'll continue with the program. It's 17 minutes to the top of that, 11 o'clock. Let's go take text messages. We'll come and take the HR interview. When we are back, we're going all the way to the Alisa Hotel after the interview, where the New Patriotic Party held two important meetings: a national executive meeting and a national council meeting. We'll give you the details of that one. Text messages now. Who should I start with? Fatima, what are people saying?
All right, thank you, Paul. So this coming from Hakim, and he says, it's reported that 5 persons were deported. How on earth can persons who paid and were processed by the Hajj task force flown to the Sacred Kingdom be returned on the same flight? They went on because they didn't have visas. And this is the Hajj he describes as successful. Now, Al-Hajj Bob Sidi also comes to say, this is absolute lies. Paul, call Musa Dankwa, who embarked on the journey through Hajj board. He lambasted them and advised them to rather increase the price to avoid such failure in the future. The old man should fear Allah. Rabiul lecturer says, kindly ask A.B. Fuseni why the Hajj board apologized to Muslims in Ghana. Abdul says, please tell Al-Hajj Fuseni that social media exposed his team because it was the same people in Hajj who were lamenting on the poor nature of their affairs. And lastly, coming from Raw Maxobi, says, Paul, ask him about his signature project in his constituency. Now to you, Abdul.
We have Hajia Mariam saying they pay less and they get less organization. Al Hassan Muhammad says, Paul, kindly arrange to talk to someone performing Hajj this year on Thursday to clarify these issues for us. Amin Delwine says, males have different tents and females also have different tents. Now, Yao Fibri says, when the President and the Hajj Committee announced the reduction in the Hajj fare for pilgrims, we thought the reduction was as a result of the depreciation of the US dollar and the government subsidy. We did not foresee they were going to get this kind of uncomfortable reception and medical care. If Honorable A.B. Fuseni is debunking the evidence shown to prove that bad reception, why were some Ghanaians complaining and other 7 lost their lives? Cornelius says Musa Dankwa made a post on his wall about how poorly Hajj was organized. Was Musa Dankwa also lying? Miriam again says last year was 6,000, this year was 5,000. He also said the truth. There are live passages with their visa. Please come again. We have Kurt Emmerich saying on NPP politics, says the best thing the NPP can do to win the 2028 election is to combine with Dr. Baumia and Kennedy Ajapong as presidential candidates and running mates. Any of them that wins the primaries becomes the president, and the second person becomes the running mate. Now we also have Atta Asante say, Paul, I plead with the MPP delegates to vote massively for DMB, and when he selects Dr. Yao Osei Edutrup as the running mate, God willing. As for Engineer Kwabena Ajay Ajapong, I admire him and think he would make a good chairman. Apia says he reiterates a proverb by A.B. Fuseni. He says, no matter how tall you are, you can never see tomorrow. Very, very wise words. Now, Kwabena Imchibwe Siago says, leadership isn't just about position. It's about vision, courage, and service. Let's unite behind a leader who inspires, empowers, and unites us all. He ends by saying Dr. Baumia is the man to lead. Abdullah Kefti has some words for you, Paul. He says, please come back to the fake PhD holder, Rashid Tanko, too. He also needs to feel the heat. Ayarik Barnabas says, Paul, you and Okateshe Frifa Mensa should be serious with your personal security. The ruling party isn't comfortable, the two of you, with your shows exposing them. Cornelius says, please tell Honorable ABA Facility to give us a proverb before he leaves the studio. I miss his proverbs. I'm sure you heard quite a number of his proverbs. Stephen Tufor says, the Ghanaian community in Philadelphia, USA, we all support Kennedy Ohene Ajipong. We've got his back. Honorable Ken can easily do the job and do it well. Godfred says, Bagman deserves to be president. He's very, very decisive. And lastly, we have from Berima Kojo Insia. He says, watching live from Ahafo in Kasem, Ghana, you are doing a great job. We thank you very much to our viewers there. Paul, back to you.
Welcome back. We have another interview. And the people who decide our work ethics, they are having a conference. We used to call them HR, but now we call them human capital. And the conference is entitled Standards, Regulating HRM in Ghana, Standards, Ethics, and Sustainability. Very, very important. I have with me the chairman of the planning committee, Nana Kwabena Yeboah, who's going to tell us. The conference starts tomorrow. And he's going to tell us what the conference is about and why we should all be interested. Thank you very much, Mr. Yeboah. So what's the conference about?
Well, Paul, this year's conference is one of many that we hope to have. And this year we are focusing on the theme, as you rightly put it. It's regulating HRM in Ghana, standards, ethics, and sustainability. So the CIHRM is a regulator of HRM in Ghana. We were set up by an Act of Parliament, Act 1020, to regulate the practice and promote the practice of HRM in Ghana, or HR management in Ghana. So this is one of many conferences that we hope to have. We hope that it's going to be an annual one. And this year we want to focus on standards, ethics, and sustainability. And the reason being that we want to ensure that all HR professionals and practitioners in Ghana work to certain standards, exude a certain type of ethic, and to ensure that the industries and the organizations in which we work are sustainable by the good practices and so on that we bring to bear on the organization. So basically that's what we want to do.
So what's the conference duration? Who is speaking?
Yeah, the conference is for 2 days. Tomorrow, Wednesday, that's the first day, and then Thursday. So the 18th and 19th of June. And thereafter, we'll be having our AGM also on Friday the 20th.
So on your screen there is the conference. You can see it, Mr. Yeboah. So this is an annual conference?
Yes, an annual conference.
So last year it happened?
No, this is the first of many. We've had a few in the past, but this is the most, this is the biggest. And
but it's interesting that Parliament has passed a law regulating HR. That's very interesting.
Yes. So the law, as I said, is Act 1020. It's an important thing for us because, like all the other major professions in the country, you realize there's some regulation around it. If you talk of other professionals, engineers, doctors, lawyers, nurses, and so on, there's some regulations around how the practice should be done. And we felt that it's very important that we must have a certain standard of how things are done regarding the HR profession in Ghana. And so it's a very important thing for us, and we hope to ensure that in the coming years, everyone understands the standards that are going to be brought to bear on organizations in which we...
Does the organization have powers to crack the whip? Can you punish people? Can you...
Yes.
Can somebody report something to you?
Yes. The law allows us to do that. So, for instance, we have an ethics committee. We have certain standards. If you are an HR professional and you fall foul of any of those standards, you can be brought to book by the CIHRM or the institute. And then also, of course, whenever we... the law enjoins us to regulate the practice, and so we'll be looking at certification. That's one of the most important things. Certification to be able to practice HR at certain levels in the organization. Mm-hmm. So we have the associate level, we have chartered, we have fellowship and all that. And the law allows us to do that. There are regulations that also back us to be able to do that, yeah.
So who is speaking tomorrow?
Tomorrow, the most important speaker perhaps will be the Minister of Education, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, who will be speaking on the theme of the theme around the conference. Mm-hmm. And so there are many other speakers. Tomorrow, for instance, we have Dr. Stella Ajeni-Boateng, mm-hmm. who will be talking on some the topic she's going to talk about is causing a lot of stirring in the public.
What is she saying?
The topic is the ethics of falling in love in the workplace. So that's causing a lot of people are interested in that. We'll also be talking about the standards. We have Professor Dodu talking to us about standards, the importance of having standards in any proper organization. And then we have the MD of GCB Bank, Farhan Hassan. He will be speaking to us on Thursday on on HRM, the good, the bad, and the ugly in Ghana. So those are some of the things. We also have some very important speakers from the National Labour Commission, Mrs. Rose Kayanan and Dr. Welbeck, who will be talking to us about their experiences in the NLC. One of the most important topics, perhaps, is where we will be talking about the new labor law. As you know, the labor law governing all the work that we do in Ghana was promulgated in 2003. Now there's a lot of discussion around revising it and making it a bit more modern and fit for purpose. And so she'll be talking about the new labor bill, our hopes and our fears. And so those are some of the major topics that will be discussed at the conference.
Who else is speaking?
We also have speakers such as Kojo Misa. Kojo Misa is the head of the SHRM organization in Ghana. SHRM is the American HR organization, and he has the chapter and organization in Ghana. And then there's another quite popular speaker, Dr. Jeff Bassi. He's the founder of the HR Certification Center. They also do some certification courses, and he'll also be speaking on at the conference. Then, of course, we have others like the another interesting part of this poll are the panelists. So after of course, there will be plenary sessions where the speaker will speak about them. We have some very important panelists also who will be joining us, like Dr. Anthony Yauba, former Secretary General of the TUC. Yeah, that's a big one. And then Austin Game, who is famous for being a colossus when it comes to HR practice and labor relations in Ghana. Then Senor Ajabin, our former president as well, Dr. Edward Kwapon, and so on. These are some of the panelists that will be speaking tomorrow.
So who is attending? Is it just the practitioners?
It is open to everyone practically, but of course we would expect a lot more of the attendees to be HR practitioners and professionals in Ghana. It's open to both members and non-members. Of course, we would expect that after a certain time, all HR practitioners will be members of the institute. Yeah.
How does the training occur? Do you have a school that certifies from membership to that? Is it a school?
Well, it's not a school. We run certification courses. We have some centers, teaching centers all around Ghana, in Accra, Tema, the big centers, Takoradi, etc. So they do the teaching, and then you come and write the exam. There are 4 levels of certification. You do level 1, level 2, up to level 4. Level 4 is where you do the project work, and then you become a chartered HR practitioner. So,
what's your young people who want to do that aspire to? After you finish university, you write level 1, or you go and look for a job? What do you do?
Well, so the level 1 is the basic thing you need is a degree to do the level 1. But we are getting into some collaborations with some. We have some MOUs with some universities. The one prominent one being with the UPSA, where they will start doing the certification courses in school, even before they come out of school. So you just need a first degree to start the course. There are many of our student members who are either practitioners, or who want to improve on their professional status, or some who just come out of school and they want to start it and so on. But by the time you get to level 4, you will become chartered. You are required to have a certain minimum number of work experience to be able to do certain levels of the course.
Is there a government agency that employs HR people? So lawyers will go to the Attorney General, accountants will go to GRA, Ministry of Finance. Is there something like that?
No, by the very nature of the profession, you could HR professionals are found everywhere. Okay, so obviously, with government being one of the biggest employers, you have a lot of practitioners in the public sector. But of course, there are many other practitioners also in the private sector and so on.
Do you have private HR firms who are rendering HR services?
Oh yes,
in Ghana?
Several of them.
I see.
Yeah. So they basically offer what consultancy services. One of the most prominent ones, for instance, will work on things like providing recruitment services, training services, and so on and so forth. Yeah, there are quite a lot of them.
Do you have any questions for HR, Michael and Fatih?
Well,
you don't have any questions for HR. Okay, what will be your last word on this one, Mr. Ebua?
Well, so we want to encourage as many people who come to join us tomorrow at Alisa Hotel. We start at 9 o'clock on the dot. The arrival and so on will be at 8 o'clock. And we hope to see as many people for the good discussions that are going to take place, of course, the networking opportunities and so on and so forth. The good thing is that those who attend will have some CPD credits as well to use for their next certification cycle. So basically that's what we want to do, and we invite all of you to join us there tomorrow tomorrow and Thursday. And as I said, when we are done with the conference, the next day on Friday the 20th, we'll have our AGM, which is a members-only affair. Members of the institute to convert to have our annual general meeting, also at Alisa Hotel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ebua. And we can come for when is the last day of the event? I'm sure there'll be a party.
There'll be Thursday. Well, usually
HR people don't do party.
Oh, we have a lot of fun. I mean, we have a lot of fun ourselves, but there's no formal event as such. But we have some of our colleagues coming from other parts of Ghana. Takoradi, for instance, are making a good showing, and so we've told them we'll host them to some dinner or something like that. But it's not a formal thing. Yeah.
Let's go to +263 and go and jam. So tell Mr. Tego, the HR director at the airport, that I wish him well.
Yes. Robert is a member of the planning committee.
Yeah, Robert Tego is a good guy.
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's. That's it for the interview. Let's take some text messages as I roll over to the touch screen. Thank you very much, Mr. Ebua.
Thank you.
Question coming in from a viewer. This is from Akwesi Boating, and he says, "Hello, Paul. I hold a MSc in HR. Can I charter in Ghana since I schooled in the United Kingdom?"
Yes. It doesn't matter where you do your first or second degree. You can always charter in Ghana. Just contact the institute. Our social media handles are at CIHRM Ghana, at CIHRM Ghana on Facebook, on X, and then of course on LinkedIn. And then we will take you through the registration process. So yeah, you're welcome.
My wife, Rosemary, she says, say zeros. What's that? Anyway, we'll leave it there. Thank you, Mr. Ebua. I will move to a touch screen now and then continue the processes because a breaking news story has just come in, as you can see on the touch screen. How does Mr. Ebua get out? Please find a way of getting him out. He has to go home. His family is waiting. So you have to turn the screen for me, Mumin. Yes. This is the breaking news story. I just texted a few people when I got the story. And some people said it's not true, some said it's true, etc., etc. It's in the period of the politics. Every time they are targeting people. There is a grand scheme targeting Okatachi Frifa and Paul Adomotri, engineered by Felix Kwachio Fosu and his gang. The duo are going to be vilified by some media personalities across the country. Most of the morning show hosts have been paid to attack these two. Just watch and listen to some of these media personalities on their shows. It's a paid agenda. I don't know. Yaobi Menu is texting me, says the same thing. Okay, it's all over social media. I don't believe it. Felix Kwachio Fosu is not that kind of person. He's not going to. He doesn't do that. Felix Kwachio Fosu doesn't do that. But you never know. In politics, you never know. So this is the breaking news story that's just coming to us. It was posted by PK Sapon. It's been posted by other people all over social media. And it says, I think somebody even actually read a text. On the text message, it also came. It says that there is a grand scheme targeting Okatachi Frifa, Mensa, and Paul Adomotri, engineered by Felix Kwachio Fosu and his gang. Who are the gang? The duo are going to be vilified by some media personalities across the country. Most of the morning show hosts have been paid. Most. I'm sure that doesn't include Joy FM and City FM, and they don't vilify personalities. They deal with the issues. They deal with the topics. They don't go about vilifying personalities. I really don't believe that Felix Kwachio Fosu will sit in a place and do that because he likes to talk. He likes to argue. He likes to make his point. And when he was making his point on Good Morning Ghana, when Akufo-Addo was president, nobody asked him any question. He was allowed to make his point. So they should just allow us to make that point. The battle is intellectual. So let's intellectualize. Say yours, let me say mine, and let's deal with it. You heard Alban Bagwin saying that he has rejected an appointment from the president because of a principle of governance and corporate governance in terms of parliament's supervisory authority over the executive, and he doesn't want that conflict of interest to be around him. So this grand scheme targeting Okateshie Frifa Mensah and Paul Adomochi has been engineered by Felix Kwachio Fusu and his gang. I really don't believe that, but this is all over social media. The two of them are going to be vilified. How are you going to vilify that we've said something that's not true or is true? Anyway, so that's the breaking news story. Now let's get to the NPP conversation about what happened today. All right. So, Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia came first in the last primaries and represented the NPP at the election. Kennedy Ohene Japan came second, and he's running again. Dr. Seya Oduchum has indicated that he's also running for the position. And Kwabena Ejie Japan has told me personally that he's preparing to start in July. So what happened at the NPP delegates, the National Executive Meeting and the National Council Meeting? Two meetings occurred today. Now, before then, there's a proposal, a document put together by a committee, a legal committee led by Mr. Frank Davis, one of the seasoned barristers of Ghana. Frank Davis chaired the committee, and then they put a document together. The document was supposed to reform some of the practices within the NPP in how they arrive at selecting presidential candidates, selecting polling station executives, selecting constituency executive, and regional executives. So Frank Davis led the group to put that document together. Now, that document this afternoon was submitted to the National Executive Committee, and the National Executive Committee is chaired by the chairman. Of course, Chairman Intim was unavailable, so Chairman Bute chaired. When we were monitoring in the morning, I think there was some confusion about whether Chairman Bute should legitimately chair, being the first vice chairman in the absence of the chairman. I think that was resolved in favor of Chairman Bute chairing, so he did chair. The proposals were taken. At the end of the day, these proposals, majority of them, will be given to a Congress on July 19th, I hear. And the Congress is entitled the NPP National Delegates Conference, that they say will take place in Accra at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. And there, the delegates will receive the proposals. One thing, though, that the delegates will not be doing is to choose a date for the presidential election. What the NPP has done, which is novel today, is that as far as 2028 battle is concerned, the NPP is deciding to choose the flag bearer before they choose the other national executives. Hitherto, what happened was that the election process begins with the polling station executives. So they elect polling station executives, then they elect constituency executives, then they elect regional executives, then they elect national executives, and when the national executives arrive, they form the National Executive Committee. And in that National Executive Committee, they will set up a timetable for the presidential elections. Somehow, that has changed now, and it appears that it's quite a popular change. It would appear also that that change is very good for the NPP, given the disarray in which the party now is, following from the fallouts of the election of 2024. It might be very necessary for the NPP in the shortest possible time to achieve leadership. And then with that leadership, people can fall in line, structures can be put together, and then they will be ready to run the election. Mind you that the NDC would have to go through the same process. Now, the NDC is in a first term like a second term. What it means is that President John Dramani Mahama cannot run for president again. I think that the argument has been firmly settled in Parliament over the last 2 days, with Supreme Court judge nominee after Supreme Court judge nominee expressing clarity that the constitutional provisions in the article 60 or 63 is very, very clear, it's unambiguous, that every individual can only serve 2 terms as president and no more, and there's no ambiguity about that. So it will appear that over the last 2 days, that matter has been firmly settled. Therefore, John Dramani Mahama, serving his second term as president of Ghana, cannot proceed to run for election, however you look at it. So the NDC would have to choose his own candidate, and according to the NDC calendar, they probably would do that in 2027, What do we know? We know already that the battle is beginning to rage between Julius Debra, the chief of staff, who is marauding to win, and then Johnson Asiedu Nketia, the eternal party chairman, who believes that this is an opportunity and he has worked enough to gain this. So that's going to be a big contest. Recently, at the weekend, I was talking to one important NDC person, and he told me that there's a third leg of the conversation. The third leg of the conversation is that Professor Jenano Pokwa-Jeman is going to be pushed to be the flag bearer with a running mate of Idrisu Haruna, the Minister for Education. That looks like an interesting ticket. On Julius Debra's ticket, if he wins, people say that Ibrahim Mahama, the president's brother, is being thought about as the running mate. On Johnson Asiedu Nketiah's ticket, if he wins, people say that Speaker Bagbin, Alban Sumanu Kingsford Bagbin, is being thought of as running mate if Johnson Asiedu Nketiah wins. So you're going to have Asiedu Nketiah and Bagbin ticket on one leg, Julius Debra and Ibrahim Mahama on another leg, and Jenano Pokwa-Jeman and Idrisu Haruna on another leg. I don't know how that's going to pan out. But the fact is that the NDC are going to have to choose a presidential candidate. In view of that, many of the analysts think that the MPP's decision today is the best decision for the party given the disarray. Ignore the polling station, ignore the constituency, ignore the television here.